Get stacked.
Triple threat.
Expected value. Now take what you learn, go out there, and get stacked.
What up, Gripsters and random YouTubers? Evan here for Grips.com, continuing my review of George Archer 1066's victory in the Wednesday challenge on 888 Poker for just over $7,000. He has been, I want to say lagging it up, but I think that's a bit of an understatement. This guy has given Hilke a run for his money when it comes to a loose, aggressive approach to the game. Anyway, we're down to about the final two tables. This was a $35 buy-in 2x chance tournament. If you haven't watched parts 1 and 2 yet, I would encourage you to do so to know how we got this far and to know what George's approach to the game is. But hey, if you don't wanna, I'm not gonna make you. And one of the reasons 888 is so soft, take a look at this. Player in the big blind has 6,500 chips, commits 4K of them to the big blind, and then when put in for the other 2,500, getting 6.3 to 1, he folds. I think he probably had the right price there. And I guess at this point, oh my god, and then he just, you know what, maybe he was sitting out, because to fold that one with 2K in the middle and 60 chips behind, that's pretty bad. But I've seen people do that a lot on this site, actually, just like get somewhat deep in the tournament, just be like, oh, well, I gotta go pick up the kids from soccer later. Oh man, what do the notes say here? Because against the initial player, we don't love it, but we're probably calling. Although his stats are pretty tight and he's shoving on an under the gun razor. I actually don't know how well nines do here. Some people just turbo call with this. I actually like to think about it. But once I will win comes over the top, we can easily release our nines, and I guess that's why people turbo call. Because sometimes they have eights. Right, we get a limp in, flop, 8, two-way straight draw. I think we can bet the turn again for value and then just check our hand back on the river. Seems like the best play there. Our opponent, you know, might have floated the flop with something, so why give him a chance to realize any free equity there? I actually have no idea how close we are now. I thought we were really deep. I think we're on the final two tables now, but I think I've said that many, many times. And looks like Hubert was trapping against that under the gun raise. And boom. So at this point, I guess I'll go over the HUD stats again since not everyone knows them, and we're going to be seeing a lot of these players at the end. So stats from left to right, top to bottom are percentage of hands they play, VPIP, percentage of hands they raise, pre-flop raise, aggression factor. Pink is 3-bet, purple is fold 3-bet, and blue is 4-bet when given the opportunity. Just want to throw those stats out there because we're going to be seeing a lot of these players on the final table, I'm sure. And this is the stage of the tournament where we really want to start developing our reads, starting to identify the tendencies our opponents have. So if we see anything kind of wild, kind of crazy, we want to make note of it. And if we just see someone's stats are getting really outside the boundaries of what's normal, we want to make note of that as well, because anyone who's playing on the extremes in terms of their style is going to be someone who is opening themselves up for exploitation. They're opening themselves up to be taken advantage of. I'm going to guess George calls here. I don't know if I would. We need 40% equity, which pocket pairs typically have against even very strong ranges. And the fact that everyone's, I mean, it's so rare the guy's like ace-2 here. Whatever, we take the flip and we win the flip. You can take that to the bank that even against a strong range, a pocket pair will usually have around 40% against the range. So if you're getting that 1.5 to 1, it's okay. And he didn't even put anything about that in the notes because I guess to him it was just so standard. Why wouldn't I call with my pair? And now this has got to be the final two tables. Six-handed. Got a couple of regs. We needed it. Oh no, it was the final three tables, and now we're back to the final two. I love how it just jumps like one hand, boom, boom, boom. Like they're really erratic on this site with when they merge the tables. And it's actually pretty funny. If you ever make it to the final table bubble on 888, once you've reached the final table, you will still have to play a couple of hands before they merge them. So be ready for that. Don't think the game's glitching out. That's just what they do. So we're facing a reshove. We have a premium hand. Easy call. We're going to be well ahead of his range. Flipping sometimes. Flipping a bunch. Dominating sometimes. Dominated rarely. We were dominating but get sucked out. Guess that's to balance out for all the good fortune we were experiencing earlier in this tournament. And we see Madstar is defending Jack's 6 offsuit versus a min raise and then trying to control the betting. So that's someone that we'll want to be paying attention to. And the ace-7 suited is a hand that normally we could have opened, but we are starting to get on that shallow stack size. And Madstar is just playing kind of crazy in position. I still think that we could have gone for it with the ace-7 suited there. Most of the players are not playing, are still playing fairly on the snug side, with the loosest guy being in early position, need million. And if he's playing early position, if he's in early position, he has to have a pretty narrow range. So we lead out at the dry flop. This guy shouldn't be limping too many kings, so worth a stab, but unfortunately he didn't allow us to get that one through. And now we're back down to a shallow stack. First time all tournament this has happened. We have about 10 big blinds. So 2 10s, 10 bigs, great spot, get it through. 2 kings, also a great spot. And I think that we can get creative with this. Notes say we don't want to push him off his hands, wanted blinds to call. So we flat. It's okay. Reshoving, it depends on your player. Reshoving is fine here because that's what they would expect you to do with the widest range. When you flat, it does look a little bit suspect. But we've seen that Madstar is really, really bad, and we want to invite him into pots whenever possible. So I like the flat there, both to try to get a c-bet out of we need it and to invite Madstar into the action, because he's someone who could spew it off with any kind of a piece and just help us get right back into the game without a lot of effort on our part. Okay, so we peel with the 10-8, get what is probably the best hand on the turn and go for 2 small value bets. I like the pot controlling that we put into play there, really taking charge. Once the turn came in, it looked like we had the best hand, but it also didn't look like our opponent was going to fire many bluffs at that pot. George said, okay, I know I have the goods. I want to get what I feel is a fair price for it. So he bet an amount that would get called by the widest possible range, and that's exactly what we saw happen, getting called by ace king high. And table has been changed, but Madstar is still playing with us, and that is exactly what we want, is the bad player in the mix. Here, nice pot odds. We can go for appeal. And I think we can check again now. The king is a good card for need million to bluff at. When he doesn't bluff again, I think he really is heavily weighted towards ace high hands. So we should bet a lot smaller here. Something like 10K, 15K is likely to get looked up by ace high, but 30K when the guy only has 85 total is not likely to get looked up by a light hand. Nice overpeel, king 7. So I'm not a huge fan of that bet sizing. I like that we check the turn, and I agree that checking the river again probably isn't a great idea. If the guy's in showdown value, if he's in showdown mode, he's taking his hand to showdown, and what better way to take it to showdown than to do it for free? So I'd like to see us charge him a little something something on the end, but not too much. As I said, I think 10 to 15K is the sweet spot. And George felt he has an open pot. This is, I think this is too loose. We also know that we have a loose player in the blind. We have 2 loose players in the blind. And when you have people who are calling too wide pre-flop, You just want to play good hands. The c-bet is also way bigger than it needs to be. On that kind of board, you could c-bet like 25, 30% and have the same effect. So it's a really nice opportunity for us, especially if Need Million can get eliminated here. Boom. Wow, what a run out. AA. It's the dream. We have 2 fish. Then we have 2 players who look like, you know, strong, tight, aggressive, or loose, aggressive players, but they're both short. Adreni has 11 bigs, and Victoria has 15, 16 bigs. And we have 2 fish with like 40 and 50 big blinds playing shorthanded. It doesn't get much sweeter than this on a final table bubble. Oh, and look who it is. Special guest appearance, net worth 1. You may recognize him from such YouTube videos as the Friday Challenge review. Okay, is Queen Jack suited? Probably shoving that. We're on the button. We have 13 blinds. It's a hand that runs very well in all-ins. Easy shove. And the question about the Queen 5, he was trying to adjust for shorthanded play. How much wide should I open on shorthanded play? Not that wide. And that's actually something we can really learn from, because George probably hasn't played a lot of shorthanded play. Most tournament players have not played a lot of shorthanded play. They play a lot of 9-handed play. Yet when you play for all the money, when you're at the part of the tournament where things really matter, it's when you're playing shorthanded. So it's good. Oh my God. He limps in with the aces and then just gets in all the chips. That's great. Priceless. Yeah, most people are either going to way over adjust to shorthanded play by opening way too wide, kind of like we saw, or they're not going to adjust enough playing too tight. And if you have a strong foundation when it comes to shorthanded play, and if you need one, look at my video, starting ranges for shorthanded play. You're going to do just fine where everyone else is making some major mistakes. So here we're slightly ahead of the button shoving range for 10 big blinds. King 10 suited, greater than Queen 4 suited, back up to 20. Oh, Advin, it was you. I thought we talked about this in the other video. You need to not go so crazy with your shoves, man. Chill out. Unlucky. GG. But we didn't have a lot to lose there. We were one of the shortest stacks left in the field, as was the other guy. And on the final table bubble, like, it's not really worth much to creep into the final table if you're just going to go out 9th place or 8th place or 7th place anyway. So that made sense to take what was a slightly thin edge in that spot. Oh, Madstar trying to control the action. Don't let him control it. George, you got to lead out. We saw that this guy wants to control the bet sizes and be in charge of the price for his showdowns. Don't let him, man. You set the price yourself, man. Lead that river. You know you have the best hand. Bet 40,000. But as I was saying, that was a spot where it makes sense to take a little chance to try to get back into a position where we have a reasonable shot at winning, rather than just getting 7th, 8th, or 9th. 6-7, I think against this guy who's just a maniac, we should just peel. And again, we're going a little wide here with the hands we're continuing with. And 8s, I think we're going to have to jam. We go with the fold. So, that's tough. Folding 8s, 5-handed against a button 3-better when we only have 25 bigs to start the hand. I don't know if I could do that. If we play it, we have to shove. We're never flatting. But it looks like everyone else is pretty short too, except for Madstar, who's a total clown anyway. So maybe our tournament life offsets the risk, or offsets the little bit of expectation we give up by letting that guy get away with a 3-bet. Here at 3s, we have 2 options. Flatting is fine because we're getting 6-1, which is almost the immediate odds to try to flop our set. The other option is jamming. It's a perfect squeeze spot. We have a loose opener and we have a very fishy caller. So I'm down with both options. And on this flop, we'll just check fold. With Madstar being such a wild card, it can make sense to really just try to make strong hands, really play a value-oriented strategy. Because he's what we call a POW, a payoff wizard. You make any kind of a hand, this guy's going to give you a full payout on it. So, yeah. Ooh, we got that suck out. Pretty standard shove there with the ace-jack for 10 bigs. Nice to crack the ace-king. And just got to get lucky at these points. Standard shove for 10 blinds, blind versus blind with king-jack. The guy called off with jack-9 suited. Well, I guess as you get shallower in stack size, you are getting a greater overlay from the pot. You know, he already has 10% of his chips in there. And he's thinking, well, against that small pair and ace-x range, how does suited connector like jack-9 suited play? Guess it plays pretty okay. You know, what else are you going to do with 10 blinds? Got to get back in the game. Still kind of blows my mind when people make these snap calls with these really low, well, not really low, but like the weakest of the suited connected Broadway range. But I guess that's just the way the game is going these days, and it's all about knowing the trends and adjusting the trends. Anyway, busted him, and we're playing that classic little bit of four-handed that I told you about on 888. There are probably 9 players remaining in the tournament, but they're still going to let us play a few hands. Welcome to the table, new guy. We're going to 3-bet, c-bet you with nothing. Any notes on this one? He's got notes on a bunch of hands, but some of like the most interesting ones he didn't write anything down. So this is just about establishing ourselves to the new player at the table. New guys tend to want to try to get in the action pretty frequently, and if you let them know right away that they're not going to be able to do that, then you're going to be able to get in more steals because they're not going to be taking your steal spots. You go for the float, pretty deep stacks, lots of room to make that play, and lots of room to take the pot away on later streets, but unfortunately we didn't get to see that. Madstar, min bet machine. I hope that we get to play this guy heads up. That'd be really fun, just playing against someone who's like pretty face-up player and generally bad for all the money. So not flush draw, we're c-betting. This is an interesting turn card. It doesn't really change anything, but if this guy's someone who's going to float wide on the flop, like with just overs or inders, he's going to fold a lot on this turn. Also don't know if he's going to check raise. We can check back and try to see a free card, take our hand to showdown. Ace high could be good. Or we could try to barrel him off and just price ourselves in for a flush draw. Whoa. I was about to say this is a pretty cool creative play, but then I looked at the notes which said, press the wrong key on river, meant to fold. This is what you get at 888poker. So we go for the min raise. Fake bluff does not work. Just out of curiosity, were you like playing on your cell phone or something? Like the raise key and the fold key are pretty far apart from each other. It's not like they're right beside each other. So, I'm interested in that one. And is this it? Is this the final table? Tommen's, Victoria, Madstars, I will win. No. This is the final 2 tables. But at this point, we're going to wrap up part 3 of the video. We've come a pretty long way, and we're pretty close to the end now. Only 120 hands to go. Hooray! So we've definitely seen a lot of clowning in this part of the video on both our parts and on the parts of our opponents. But as I keep telling you, that's just what you get when you play at 888poker. Whole bunch of craziness. The fun is awesome and hilarious. But the good news is the money's real. The players may seem fake because they're just so off the charts, but the money's real. So I hope you learn a thing or two that you can add to your game and become more profitable on the tables and big up that bankroll. Please leave your questions, comments, and feedback in the comments section of the video. And when you're done with that, you know what to do. Take what you've learned, go out there, and get stacking.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking.
Stack it up, cash it in, damn I win again. Many friends come to play, cause I'm on the internet. Better yet, I flop the turn and take a chance upon the river. I'll bluff you with the 7-2 offsuit, whatever's clever, call you all in while your chip stacks falling. Better believe the dealer, cause the game just started. Don't know the rules, you bet it all and then you risk it. If you wanna learn it, you should go online and hit up Gripsit.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Ever since a young cat, want a pocket stack with cash in the fast stack, crammed in the clam clip. Gotta get the action, gotta get it stacking. Dollars on the noggin, want a lot of transactions. Started as a little retarded, now with the knowledge, playing cards, flopping. Bombarded cause it was harder than I thought. Then I got on Grips.com, asking and got what I needed to be to me get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking.